we've got Dr. Aakash Ahuja. He was with us 2 weeks ago. Was it?
A week ago.
Yeah.
A week
Okay. A
ago.
week ago. So time flies around this place. I'll tell you what. And we're on the topic of we're discussing a lot of what's going on with your teens, with your young kids, and not just smartphones because everybody wants to tie to it, but they're looking at stuff on that smartphone. They're out on Facebook. They're out on TikTok. They're out on that kind of thing. So, you know, we were talking about this last week, not just with you, but I was looking, I get stuff from people for my nighttime show all the time. And I'm going through a lot of TikTok pops up through Facebook, right? When you're looking at certain things. And there's some crazy dances that they're doing. Everybody's kind of like trying to do that dance, and you get there. And what I noticed was it progressively gets worse. The dancing stuff and the type of dancing and what have you. So I can only imagine when the kids are on there and they're getting to those things and they like what they see, they're being pulled in to a worse scenario of things that they might not should see, but they get addicted to that to your what was dopamine, right? Is that what you were
Yes.
talking about?
Yes, dopamine
Almost
hits.
like a drug addiction.
Yes.
How do you break? I mean, a drug addiction, I won't say it's easy to break, but we've got years of practice on how to do it. But how do you break a smartphone social media addiction?
An excellent question, Joe. And let me just piggyback on what you just said. There has been a lot of studies nowadays, and there was a study done for the kids who were playing video games more than about, let's say, 20 hours a week. And they compared their brain MRI scans to someone who has been addicted to the drugs for many years. And very surprisingly for few people, and unluckily, that the brain scans look very, very similar. Um, the TikTok and these algorithms affect the dopamine centers in a very, very similar way as compared to when we have people who are addicted to cocaine or heroin or any other drugs. So very, very scary situation, and I think people should look at it very seriously. And I really appreciate you guys asking me. Now, your question was that now once the kids are on that, what are we supposed to do? Well, first thing is always prevention. I know the question was not that. The first thing is always prevention, and we can always talk about that first. Um, that it's always easier for somebody from being to be prevented from getting to that stage rather than getting treatment for when they are already in that rut. Similarly, when the preventive healthcare is always better than if somebody has a stage 4 situation in any case.
True, very true.
So for the prevention case, it's always important, I think, for the kids and the parents and the teachers to work hand in hand. There is an old saying, but it's always stands true that it takes a village to get a child to be where he needs to be. And I always like to give an example to a lot of parents who ask me this question, that I compare a cell phone to a car. A car is extremely important, and so is technology, so is cell phone. But we don't usually, I hope not, don't give the keys of the car to a 10-year-old. We give the keys of the car to like a 15 or a 16-year-old, and then we educate them. We sit with them. We go to the parking lots. We drive around. We show them like this is what exactly the part of this car does. If you go more than this speed, this will happen. You have to follow the signs. You have to follow the instructions. And I'm sure you're seeing where I'm trying to get it. That when we give the kids the cell phones at the age of 8.5 months, or
You're
little
right.
later
You're
or
right.
little
Yeah.
earlier, we usually don't give them instructions. And number one reason we don't give instruction is not that we are bad parents. Number one is because we also don't know that. First of all, I think the parents need to understand the gravity of the situation, and then they need to have constant conversations with their kids that, look, this is the cell phone, this is what it does, these are the features which you can use, these are the features which you cannot use, these are the things which it does good, these are the things which it does not do good, and it can do really harm to you. And I assure you, and I can give you my guarantee as a psychiatrist, that if that conversation takes place before giving the cell phone, I would say about 70 to 75% of the problem will be solved. Having said that, And I'm sorry I digress, because the question was, what should we do?
Yeah, you're already not done that because you didn't know, and now your kid is walking around with that phone like this 24/7. What do you do?
And now that when we are in that situation, first of all, as a family, we should realize that yes, now we have a problem. And it cannot be sorted out by just yelling at the kid and saying that, hey, get off your cell phone. Trust
See, I
me,
told you.
That's his technique.
trust me, 99% of the time, that technique is not going to work.
No.
Of course
And
not.
even if it will work by warning him or giving him some ultimatums that if you don't do this, this will be taken away or that will be taken away, it's going to help only on a temporary basis. And the kid might found some other way. The kids are smart, you know, not in terms of their frontal lobe, but they are smart and they can figure out the ways.
Creative.
They are very creative. Thank you,
That's-
Joe.
yeah.
Thank you, Joe. All right. So again, so what should we do? First thing is we still need to have, even if a kid is addicted, we still need to have a very reasonable man to man or a man to woman or boy to boy kind of conversation with them, telling them that why the parents believe that this is a problem. There is a some chances that the kid might see a little light that okay, this is the situation. Then I think it's important for the whole family to follow certain guidelines, and I use the word the whole family. We cannot have a father using the cell phone, a mom on the cell phone on the premises. It's important for us, we are not addicted, but you have to follow the rules. Not going to work. We all have to set up certain boundaries for all of us,
Good.
in terms of there should be some certain time zones which we can set up, and that actually works for our family as well. And I'm saying that I don't want to be a preacher and not follower on that
Right.
advice. We have created certain activities in our home where we do not use cell phone at all. First of all, nobody uses the cell phone while we are all in the car. We talk, we listen to music, we yell at each other sometimes. We shouldn't be supposed to, but we do not use the cell
You sure you're
phone.
not Italian? Because that's what we do in the car too. Yell at each other.
Hey, I guess I'm talking to you a lot more, Joe. Maybe
Yeah, you
that's
gotta-
how
That's the problem.
Italian traits are coming in.
You have to pencil things in sometimes. There's a lot of time to fill during the day, so yelling in the car works for me. I'm good.
Here we go. But no cell phones. And most studies will show that the cell phones are more harmful than seldom yelling here and there. So that's one. Number two, while having the dinner, no cell phone. Some people use like a basket, literally, that everybody keeps their cell phone down. We don't use that, but we put the cell phone away. Or even if the cell phone is on the table, let's say my dad from India called, for example, the cell phone is there, but we put it like down. We cannot see the look at the screen. We
Yeah.
cannot look at that somebody is texting us. I also have a recommendation that sometimes we can change the settings in a way that not every single notification appears with a beep on the cell phone. You reach your cell phone when you need to and then look at it. You don't have to be on 24 hours a day. That what if a message comes in and then I have to reply the message. Exceptions are always there. Joe is a busy guy. He has to do it. He has to do it.
You're a doctor. I mean, you may need to respond too.
True. When it comes to my work, then yes. But otherwise,
When kids hear it, it's irresistible for them to hear that bing and not respond to it. Yeah, it's those are great points. I just have a couple others that I've
You got
heard
about
of.
2 minutes. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
All right. What do you think about parental apps to monitor what your kids are watching? I have a bunch of questions for him, but I think I'll boil it down to that. There are apps that you can actually see what your kids have been watching throughout the day.
yes, and I think that works. I just want to make sure though that it should not be done without the kid knowing that.
Oh, absolutely.
The kids should know that this is that you are giving the phone, and yes, you can use it, but you can use certain apps and you cannot use certain apps
Mhm.
not appropriate for you, just like the movies, just like any other thing. And yes, we will be watching it, but I think there should be transparency and again a talk. It should not appear like a punishment. It should
Right.
appear more like a contract,
Mhm.
that you are given this privilege, yes, but with privilege comes the responsibility.
Right.
But I think it's a good idea.
I heard another person say, never refer to the device as their device. They didn't pay for it. They're not, they're not covering the payments. So you never say your device. You say, our device or my device as a parent. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea for certain families. I think it's a way of expressing so that the kids don't have an ownership on that.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it can definitely
Right.
work.
Right.
But I
Very
think
good.
again the bottom line is if we communicate very well, educate them, set up good examples, and also
Good.
one last point I like to make is that everybody should be on board. Not only the parents, students, but also the teachers in the school. If they
Right.
all are all in the same boat and educating the same message, then I think that maybe in a year or so we will see a lot of
I
good
hope
things.
so. This is uncharted territory we're going into. So we really appreciate voices like you that help us navigate our way through this because we don't know what we're going to be dealing with in the next few
Well, I
years.
appreciate you guys' platform and you guys asking me this question. And I know Joe personally that he has been very instrumental in advocating against the cell phone usage for the kids also.
Yeah,
So thank you.
especially in the
I,
schools.
I just see it. A lot of technology in the world that was meant to help us has actually separated us from, reality logic. That phone is
And
constantly
humanity.
feeding them, so they're not having to think; they're just being fed.
Yes.
I think it's a very dangerous place to be. We'll have you back again. Always a pleasure to have you with us, Dr. Akash.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.